Hey, I'm Mike with USCCA, and I'm standing outside of the LA Metro subway right now. I want to run you guys through some situational awareness techniques that you can use to stay safe when you're riding on public transportation. Whether you're on a bus or subway, public transportation is one of those things where it is really that like melting pot where all walks of life, there's no barrier to entry. It costs like $1 or sometimes less to get on public transportation. With that comes trouble. You have to keep your head on a swivel because a lot of people who intend to do harm, they have access to the same transportation you do, and it's in a very, very confined space. Some of the crazy statistics coming from public transportation, just in the last 3 years, in LA alone, there's been a 50% rise in violent crime. 50% rise in the last 3 years. So whether I'm at home or I'm working overseas, I'm always using public transportation in some way. What I'm gonna do today is walk you guys through. I'm gonna take the LA Metro, and as we walk through, I'm gonna show you guys different places, different tips that you can use, and also techniques to stay safe whenever you're using public transportation. First thing I'd like to mention is basically when you're going anywhere in the public, you should always think about what kind of weapons you're going to be carrying, what kind of everyday carry options you should have on you. So, for instance, do you have a med kit? Well, I keep a med kit on me, I keep it in my pack, I keep it on my body, whatever I'm doing. It doesn't even have to be that big of a med kit. I've got a med kit in this bag that's about this size, and it'll fit in my back pocket. Do we have weapons? Well, do you carry? Do you carry your pistol? If the answer is no, what else are you carrying? Because lots of things can be modified as weapons. You can have blades, you can have pepper spray, you can have tasers. These are all things you want to check the legality in your city, but there's always going to be something you can carry to defend yourself. So first and foremost, you want to step out into the public transportation realm where you might be dealing with unsavory people. Well, you're going to make sure you want to have something to defend yourself with, because you're going to be in a confined space and you don't have that ability to run away, right? On the streets, I can run away, but once I go into that tube of a subway or that tube of a bus, I don't have that ability. I may have to stand my ground and fight. So I keep a med kit, some kind of weapon or weapons on me. So before you ever enter a situation like being in public transportation or even going out on the street, you have to decide how you want to fit in, right? I don't want to be a loud, soft target. I don't want to be somebody who attracts attention. I want to be like that gray man, as cheesy as that word is like I want to blend in a little bit, because somebody who's gonna like try to hurt me or rob me, I have to catch their attention first. They see a watch, they see some kind of bracelet or jewelry on me that they want, they see expensive things, maybe I pull out cash, maybe I just like look a certain way that strikes them as somebody they want to talk to or they want to bother. So I become the gray man. So I take all jewelry off. So this watch, even though this watch may not seem expensive to you, it may be incredibly valuable to somebody else. So I just get rid of that thing. I keep everything in my pockets, or I keep everything in my bag, but I just want to show that I have nothing on me, nothing of value at least. The second thing I do is I usually walk around with some kind of a hat. It helps give me a little bit lower of a profile, makes it a little bit harder to recognize me or identify me. I just blend in a little bit more. What am I wearing on me? Am I wearing markers, right? I've got my USCCA shirt on. That actually says something about me. If somebody knows this brand or they know the brand that you're wearing, that actually attracts attention. So typically I may not go into public with this brand on or this logo on. I may cover it up and just have completely no markings. For today, it's not a big issue because it actually kind of blends in well. But that's something that you guys should be thinking about at home, is what am I actually wearing out and how do I appear to people out on the streets. And then lastly, something I see a lot of people doing is they go outside and they've got their headphones in, right? We did a video not too long ago with our friend Vince, who was attacked at his house. 2 armed men tried to rob him and do a home invasion. He had his headphones in, and one of the biggest mistakes that he talks about is having his headphones in. He had no situational awareness. So something I'll say is I see a lot of people walking around on their phones and they got their headphones in when they're on public transportation, trying to zone out maybe. You can do the same effect having one earbud in, listen to your music, listen to the phone call, whatever you want to do, but it gives you the other half of your situational awareness. For me, I'm keeping it always in my pocket, not listening to it, because I'm in a threatened, confined space. But for you, if you don't want to give that up, at least one and one out, and you'll be safer. So I think something you want to ask yourself when you're taking public transportation is, well, do I need to? Because some people have a choice, and if you have a choice, weigh what is the most safe. So if I feel like I'm at a bus stop and it's just super sketchy, well, maybe I'll take one of those little rental scooters or take a ride share like an Uber. Take another mode, okay? Nothing says you have to put yourself in an unsafe position, even if it's cheaper, even if it feels like maybe it's the only way. You always have a choice, so if it feels unsafe, even if it's super expensive, there's still an alternative to take. Never put yourself in harm's way, never put yourself in a really vulnerable situation. Whether you're overseas or at home, traveling on the subway, traveling on public transportation can be kind of confusing, especially for like the new first-time travelers. I always like to do a map study, so overhead map study. So looking at the map, where am I going to go? Because the confusion of where the line actually runs underground or where the buses stop sometimes can get a little iffy. You want to know where you're starting from and you want to know where you're going, but you want to know the stops along the way. So for today, we're going to be going from the Wilshire Western to the Wilshire Vermont. And so as I look across, I go, okay, well, this is actually taking me off of the street that I'm intending to travel on for a little bit. So I know when I get off at Vermont, I should expect to have to travel south to get back onto the street that I'm traveling on. For whatever reason, you have to pop up out of the ground. You know generally where you are, at least in the general direction where you're going. So something that is also a bit confusing is how you pay. Well, you can pay with cash, you can pay with coins. Some places I've been, you buy these tickets and they stamp tickets, but most public transportation is now going towards like smartphone. You can download the apps for the local programs and you can travel and pay with the phones. This is one of the smarter ways you can go because you don't have cash on you. If somebody steals your phone, it's protected, you don't have to worry about it, and it's really quick and easy. So when I travel overseas, even though I do carry cash with me, I keep that tucked away and hidden. I don't show it. I actually just use my phone so that I can just tap and go. When you're staying on the platform waiting for the subway, you tend to see a lot of people stand right up to this line, whether they're eager because a train's coming or they're running late. They want to see down the tracks. The problem here is there have been a number of attacks over the past few years where crazy people are running up and pushing them off onto the tracks, sometimes killing them, sometimes injuring them. You know, the simplest way to stay safe for this, two things really. One, stay off this line. If you're gonna place yourself somewhere in the interior, away from any of the spaces you could get pushed, lunged. The other thing too is when you watch some of these videos, almost everyone is standing like this. When my head is like this, I'm not looking around. So number one thing you can always do is get your situational awareness back. Put your phones away, put your headphones away, and actually just look around. If something looks unsafe, something looks unsettling, get out, right? You can head back upstairs, you can go find a security guard or a police officer, but you don't want to be hanging around if you're by yourself, like right now. I'm sitting here by myself in this station. If I'm somebody who's vulnerable, I don't have weapons on me, I don't have my everyday carry, I'm in a pretty vulnerable place and I'm stuck here. So don't place yourself by the tracks. Go place yourself by the egress. Go place yourself by the staircase, the elevators, a way to get out if you need to. Deciding where to sit, that's a big question a lot of people have. Where do I want to sit in public transportation? Well, it's all really bad. Like, from a safety standpoint, we're stuck in a tube, I'm stuck on a bus, and I can't really leave. So a lot of it is situational dependent on who is sitting in the bus or the train with me. Right now, I'm kind of all by myself, so I would potentially choose chairs that are close to the doors so I can get on and off quickly, or if somebody came on I didn't like, I could get off quickly, or if I had to leave, I'd be able to go. There's not really a better or worse seat. I just would refrain from sitting close to the window where somebody could sit down right next to me and box me in. That's just me and my personality. I'm more of the protector type. But if you wanted a person sitting next to you, maybe even as like a potential shield, you could sit inward. But for me, I'm gonna sit the ability to get out fast, get out quickly. Now, the moment somebody steps on, everything changes. So all of a sudden the dynamic shifts. Somebody sits next to me and maybe I feel uncomfortable about it, or I just don't like the new dynamic. Well, I just get up and I shift. Maybe I don't want to be seated anyway. Maybe I'd like to be standing and in a defensive posture. But the last thing I have to do is stay seated if I feel uncomfortable. So I get up and I move. And now for me, the ability to be standing, the ability to be ready and to maneuver at a moment's notice, if it's a short distance, maybe this is my best option. This is my most preferred option, in fact, because I don't have a long way to go, and quite frankly, I'm the most ready, I'm the most capable right now. I'm not locked into a seat. So the craziest thing about all this is, like, I was a Navy SEAL for like 9.5, almost 10 years, and I've been training ever since. I fight, I shoot, I do all kinds of self-defense training, and I am completely unsettled being on this train, being in this station. You don't feel safe at all. This is a sketchy part of town in general, but I'm armed, I'm carrying, I have all the abilities and like some of the best training in the world to help me, and I'm still a little bit on edge. I can't imagine what normal people feel like, I can't imagine what like a house mom, I can't imagine what like a housewife feels like getting on a train, or what some, poor guy who's like elderly and he's trying to just go to work maybe, what these people feel like, because it does feel completely unsafe.
Welcome aboard the Metro D-Line. This train's final destination is Wilshire.
These places really do attract all walks of life because they're highly accessible. They're very low-cost modes of transportation. And with that comes people from all walks of life. And I think what you really need to assess is the people. So I look for the people who are the most out of control, the most, crazy sounding, crazy looking. Because those are the people who are typically, they have nothing to lose, or maybe they're not even in reality. I want to distance myself from those people. Yeah, I'm armed and I can defend myself, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to use my weapons. I want distance. So if I see somebody sketchy on a train, I just want to get out of there. I want to like go to another side of the train, or maybe even take a different train. But it's a real eye-opener taking public transportation, because it's you're just confined and forced to be around people that maybe you wouldn't necessarily be around. All right, if you like what you saw, make sure you like and subscribe. We have more videos on situational awareness, and we would love to hear from you guys, the viewers. What situations would you like us to discuss? We've done parking lots, we've done drive-thrus, we've done restaurants, now we've done subways. Stay tuned for more. We have a whole lot more coming out on this topic. And as always, continue training, because that's how we move forward and that's how we progress.